To extend the platform from 1.5 feet on top to a full 3-foot platform, I put these boards in here to extend it out. These will eventually be supported by 4x4 posts that are going to go right up and down here. Tall ones in the corners, and then short ones in the middle that'll support a fence for the kids to lean against while they're just sitting waiting for their next turn. The next step is to frame a box that will sit on top of these support posts that will make the deck level with this level here, so it'll extend it all the way out. And then we'll put 3/4 inch plywood on top of it to finish it off. Okay, I got the frame completed here for the top side of the ramp. Basically just make the frame. We're going to screw it right up here against the other part of the top to give us support for our 3/4 inch plywood on top. Basically it turns our 1.5 foot top to a 3-foot top, and these pieces sticking at the ends here, this is where the 4x4s coming from the ground are going to be screwed into to support it from the back. So all we got to do now is screw it together. One important thing to do is when you're putting in these middle spars here is to make sure that they line up with the 4-foot marks where the 2x4s are. So when you lay down your 8-foot long sheet of plywood, it lines up here, and so it can be supported on both edges on the 2x4 here. So when you lap them together, because obviously it's 12 feet wide, you're going to need 2 pieces of board, an 8-footer and a 4-footer, both 3 foot wide. As you can see, I added a couple more supports in between here, here, and here, which is just midway between those points, just for extra strength for standing on top of the deck. Even though it's going to be 3/4 inch, I just wanted to support it a little bit better. Okay, as you can see now, I'm putting the 3/4 inch deck on top, and this is where it's important that you make sure you put one of these supports right here where the 4x8 sheet is going to meet up. It already meets up where the 3/4 inch plywood part of the template meets up, so you got to make sure you put a spar there so it has some support underneath. And so we got an 8-foot long by 3-foot piece, and then a 4-foot long by 3-foot piece that goes on top here. This is what it looks like when I got the deck finished. Got 3/4 inch ply on top, everything supported. We got these sticking out here to eventually we're going to meet up with 4x4 posts that come out of the ground, support the deck. All ready to rock. Got it done on both sides. The deck's done, so the kids can ride it safe, at least anyway, until we get the posts in. Okay, before I get ready to paint, I like to take this little sander right here, brush it back and forth, and scuff up the surface nicely for a layer of paint. The other thing, what it does is when you do this, is it goes and it, as you can see the screw right here, the sandpaper has scuffed up top of the screw, basically showing that the screw is still proud. So it helps identify all the screws that are proud before you put on a coat of paint. So you just go along to these screws that are a little bit proud, and you sink them down nice and low so that you don't have to worry about that screw anymore. Got one here too. Good. Okay, I just finished putting on the first coat of paint on the entire ramp. I'm using this Valspar porch and floor paint. It's latex from Lowe's. Seemed to be worked really well on our see our quarter pipe over there. That's about a year old, and it's worked really well on that. So we used it on the big half pipe here, the mini ramp. And so the first coat is on. You can see it's really important to get a good first coat on, but not too thick. It's going to probably take several coats on the skating surface. It's also important to get the edges of the wood along the side here. Those are going to have to be soaked many times to make sure that they're thoroughly coated with paint to keep water intrusion. On this side, I've actually started to put some caulking on the top and the bottom of the pipe. We're going to see how that works to keep from water intruding down into the edges of the wood. And I'll probably do that on all sides. But anywhere that there's wood exposed to the elements has been painting. The whole top deck, parts of the underdeck that are going to be exposed. All edges of plywood have to be coated, whether they're going to be exposed to the elements or not. But anyway, this is just the first coat. As you can see, as we stand back a little bit here, it actually looks pretty good. Doesn't even look like wood with paint. It looks more like I don't know what it looks like. Okay, we are digging the holes for the long 4x4s, which eventually we're going to support a tarp that would be like a roof during the summer, keep the sun off us, and also help keep the rain off the ramp. So we're digging holes at the bottom here, and I got this set up so we're 10 feet above the deck here, and the poles, and the intermediate poles are going to be like this one over here, which stand 3.5 feet above the deck, which is where we're going to have like a little railing and kind of fence system set up. You can see on this side we finished digging all 4 holes over here, and you'll see what that looks like from way back. Now the poles back here I only have 9 feet because I want to have a slant from one side to the other so that the rainwater can come off. And again, because to make everything level, I brought these poles to 3.5 feet above the deck, and eventually there'll be poles that go obviously across there, big 2x6 that the kids can sit on, with a couple railings underneath to put their feet on while they're waiting for their turn on the ramp, and keep them from falling off the back. But anyway, it's just use a post hole digger to dig these holes. And it's important that make sure that when you're putting the poles in, that the poles are level in both dimensions. So you got to make sure that you're level here, right? You got to make sure you're level here, and then of course you're level on the other side. I mean, they don't have to be perfect because these poles aren't perfect anyway, but you got to be pretty close. And then you just dig your holes with a post hole digger here, and you're ready to rock. I had to cut little notches at the back of the top deck so that I could put the poles in, because I had a little overhang over here from the 3-foot deck. Okay, we're almost finished. I got all 4 of the poles in on this side and the other side. All we got to do now is put our railing at the top and a couple of railings below to put your heels on when you're sitting waiting for your turn. We're ready to go, man. After that, a couple more coats of paint and we're done. Okay, go. I like that last trick the best.